Hey, what is going on everybody? It is Nolan, or the Optimistic Gamer here, and welcome back to All the Mods 9. As I mentioned at the end or during the middle of last episode, today we are going to be working with souls. Of course, last episode we worked on something a bit more tangible and concrete in our wind turbine, whereas today we are moving into something a bit more abstract again, involving souls and mystical agriculture. We are going to be able to grow our own animal essence, basically, and other mob essence, such as slime, and I think we have zombie in here, maybe? I don't know, I haven't looked at all of them. Yes, we do. Here we go. Zombie, skeleton, creeper, spider. This will allow us to grow things like creeper essence, which can then be used to craft, well, I guess various music discs, but more importantly, or less importantly, gunpowder right down here. So this is a great way to get a lot of useful resources without having to set up giant mob farms or anything like that. So that is why we are focusing on it, and that is why we are taking care of it pretty early on in our world. It is going to require a lot of resources, however, including quite a bit of blocks unique to the Nether. Now, fortunately, I have noticed as we've gone back and forth that we do have some of these blocks right through the portal, which is very helpful. That way we don't have to wander very far. But the other thing we are going to need en masse today is Inferium Essence, and to help boost our efficiency in farming this, we are going to improve our tools, both the watering can and our scythe. So let's head down to our storage area and get to work on that. So down here in our storage panel, if we scroll through the mystical agriculture menu, we will see all of these different tiers of tools. Now, of course, we have the Inferium, the first tier. Of course, there's diamond right here, but this is the first official tier, if that's what we want to call it. We are going to upgrade at least to a Prudentium scythe and watering can, maybe tertium, if we can get around to it. You will see the biggest difference is the area that it affects. So our current Inferium scythe, I'll just go down here, affects a 7x7 area when we go to harvest. So what that means is we click 3 blocks in that direction, 3 blocks that way, 3 this way, and 3 this way will all be harvested at the same time. Our watering can is a bit smaller. It only covers a 3x3 area, and we can actually see this from the particles as we pour it out. It is only affecting the surrounding blocks directly adjacent to it. It doesn't extend any farther. So when we are out on our farm using our watering can, we aren't really getting the entire farm covered, only a small portion of it. So this is more important. We can move around with our scythe, but the watering can is what I really want to focus on. To make a Prudentium watering can, we are going to use our Inferium watering can, and we are going to combine that with a few Prudentium ingots and some mystical fertilizer. You can see we are missing all of those items, including the watering can. That's just because once we craft it, it doesn't appear in our menu. So we're going to need to craft all of these different items. We need some Prudentium essence, which means we need to make some Inferium essence. We do already have plenty of Inferium, over a stack of that, so we are just going to grab out our crystal, which is almost out of durability. We are going to have to make another one, but we can craft our Prudentium essence. Now we need 4 ingots, which means we will need 8 Prudentium essence. It is 2 essence to make a single ingot. We also need our prosperity ingots, which we can find right here. We only have 1 of, so we will need to make a few more of those as well. We are out of prosperity shards though, so I will run down to the cave real quick, get some more, and we will be right back. And we have returned with a few more prosperity shards. That should be enough to make enough ingots for the rest of these tools. So again, to make the Prudentium ingots, we are just going to combine 2 of our essence with 1 of those ingots. We will need a few more here. There we go. I don't want to craft all of them right now in case we also need some other prosperity items, in case we need to make more seeds or anything like that, but 6 will be enough to get us going. So again, we have 1, we need 3 more. 1, and 2 and 3. There we go. So 4 of those ingots, and then we also need some mystical fertilizer, which is created using a diamond and some essence. We're going to use our fertilized essence instead of bone meal. We have a bit more of that, and it is a slightly better yield, I think. Yeah, 8 instead of 4. So with all of that, that will be enough to craft our next tier of watering can. We will just put that there in the middle, and we get our Prudentium watering can. That is going to give us a quest. Let's hop into our quest page here and go ahead and collect the reward for that. Let's see if we get anything good. We got some nature seeds, all right, and some XP, of course. We also have these nature seeds right up here. In collecting that, we will receive some nether seeds, which I think we already had. Yes, we did, but that's okay. The more, the merrier. So now with our Prudentium watering can, we are just going to repeat that process one more time. We are now up to a 5x5 area. I would like to go for 7x7, and then I think we will leave our scythe as it is. So one more time, we need to turn this Inferium essence into Tertium essence. And of course, to do that, we will start with our Inferium infusion crystal. We are going to need a bit more Prudentium essence, but that's okay. And then we will surround that with, instead of our Inferium crystal, our Prudentium crystal. That's going to give us 2 Tertium essence. We need quite a bit more. We need 8 in total in order to make all of the ingots that we need for that. But with our new watering can, we should be able to get our Inferium essence a little bit quicker now. So we can just hold that over this, and it is going to cover almost all of the Inferium that we have planted. What we can also do is hold the scythe in our offhand, the watering can in our main hand, and every time some of those plants grow to full maturity, we can just right click, and there we go, the essence is dropped on the ground. So that already has us up to a half stack. This shouldn't take us too long at all. And we should have enough essence here to finish that off. So one more time, let's grab out both of our crystals here, surround that with our Inferium essence, make a handful of Prudentium essence, go around one more time with our Prudentium right here, that time with the crystal inside, and that will give us 8 Tertium essence. We can then craft that into our Prosperity ingots. And there we go, that will give us 4 Tertium ingots. Let's click on the watering can right up here, move everything into place, and we now have a 7x7. Did I make too many Tertium ingots? I thought I made just 4. I don't know how we ended up with 2 additional, but oh well, I guess we will have those for later on. Of course, we completed yet another quest. Let's collect the rewards for that. We will get a Tertium coal block. Not really sure what we can do with that. That will just give us 9 Tertium coal. We will throw that into our storage for now. There we go. And head back out to our field, where we will then collect a handful of Inferium essence. Before we do that though, we are also going to head into the Nether and start gathering some of the other materials that we are going to need for making souls. And we should see right away, right below our feet, is a whole lot of soulstone and occasionally some Soulium ore, which is exactly what we need to move on to our next phase in all of this. We are going to need 3 stacks of soulstone, and we need 4 Soulium ore per essence seed. The Soulium is something that we can grow in the form of essence. Unfortunately, soulstone, we can't grow that, so we have to get as much of that as possible. But we are going to start with 4 of our Soulium seeds, so I will gather 16 of our Soulium ore and 3 stacks of the soulstone. I will also get a handful of Inferium essence and meet all of you back here once we have finished. I will see all of you very soon. And we are back now with plenty of Inferium essence. Actually, believe it or not though, we will probably need even more, and plenty of cobbled soulstone and Soulium dust. I got a little bit extra when we were out there, just to err on the side of caution. So what do we need to do with the cobbled soulstone? Well, we need to smelt this a couple of times actually to get it into soul dust. And not to be confused with Soulium dust, the soul dust, which we will find right down here, is again derived from that smooth soulstone. We're not going to make that in a furnace nor an iron furnace. Instead, since we are now on a power grid, we are going to make a redstone furnace. That way we don't have to rely on coal, even though with all of this coal essence, we could make a whole lot. The redstone furnace will just be a little bit better for us, and I don't think this one has energy as an option. Yeah, it does not. That's just options to configure with redstone. So let's have a look at the redstone furnace, something that I've already looked at the recipe for, and it's actually pretty basic. We should be able to craft this right away. Right in here from thermal expansion, we need a couple copper gears, a redstone flux coil, a machine frame, and a few bricks and some redstone. As you can see, we are missing all of those items right now, so we will take this one at a time, starting with the redstone. Do we have redstone essence? We don't quite have enough of it, but we do have redstone seeds planted. The copper gears, we should have raw copper. Here we go, 57 of it, and an iron nugget. So let's make some iron nuggets. And let's take our ore hammer and boost the yield, although we do have copper essence actually, which might be a little bit better because then we don't have to smelt that. So I'm gonna go get a little bit more copper and redstone essence. And now we should hopefully have enough to make everything that we need. Let's craft some redstone here. We will get 12 from that, and some copper as well. We will get 6 from that. We might need a little bit more copper here. Yeah, we are going to need a couple more. We're just going to throw 2 raw copper. I'm not even concerned about the ore hammer. We're just going to get that into the iron furnace and make some coal from our essence there, just to get that taken care of. That will give us our 2 copper gears. We need a machine frame, which we are just missing a tin gear for that. We have plenty of tin. It is just in its raw tin form. This one we will use the ore hammer on. That way we can boost our level that we get from that. We need 410 in total. We will get that put in there. Take our copper ingots and make our second copper gear. So we now have 2 of those. We need a redstone flux coil, which we already have the ingredients for. We need a couple of bricks, which we can make. We don't actually have brick slabs, even though it says we do. It just thinks that any slab will work for that. So we need to make some bricks, which requires some clay. I don't know if we have any clay right now. It doesn't look like... Oh, no, we do. All right. We will get that put into the iron furnace as well. 8 in total will be enough for what we need. With our 4 tin ingots, we can make our machine frame, or our tin gear, and then our machine frame. And now all we are waiting on is the bricks. Those bricks right in here. Once those are finished, we can make that redstone furnace and power that up once again to the same grid that we are on with everything else. We don't even need an extra cable since that already goes over, so we will place that down right there, and it should power up right away. I am curious to find out if this has any kind of augment for it available that we can speed things up with, but if it doesn't, it's no big deal. We are just going to let this run in the background here. There we go, redstone furnace. Do we get a quest for that? We sure do. Let's find thermal expansion right down here in the thermal series, and we actually have a couple of different things we are going to get for that. We will get a tin gear, and we will get a gold ingot, it looks like. Not bad, or quite a few gold ingots, I guess. We'll place that down right here. Is that gonna power? Uh-oh. Does that not connect on the outside? That is the question now. Oh, never mind, we just don't have a cable placed down. Alright, problem solved. So we need the not the conduit, what is it called? The conductor cable. No, the basic universal cable. Every cable has a different name depending on the mod. There we go, it is charging up now, and we should be able to throw our cobbled soulstone into there. It does have augmentations, so we might as well take a look at some of these thermal expansion augmentations real quick, although it looks like it is going pretty fast by itself, and I'm sure if we just let this run in the background while we get everything else in place, we should be okay. So we will actually put that on the back burner for now, and head back into the Mystical Agriculture page and take a look at the next steps. So while that smelts and becomes the soulstone and then, or smooth soulstone, and then eventually the soul dust after we smelt that one more time through, we are then going to use this to create our soul glass. 3 of those will be used in tandem with a Soulium ingot to create a soul jar. What do we do with that jar? Well, that is where we harvest the soul. Unfortunately, it is not as simple as walking up to a mob and killing it with the jar in our offhand or anything like that. We need to use a soul extractor, which is right here. This is what will allow us to combine a certain animal dropping, say for chickens, feathers, eggs, or raw chicken, with a soul jar and begin to fill up that jar. For this, we need 4 iron ingots, we need a machine frame from Mystical Agriculture, 2 Soulium daggers, and 2 Soulium ingots. These are actually pretty self-explanatory. 2 Soulium dust and a prosperity ingot, just like that. For the daggers, it is 2 Soulium ingots and 2 Soulium dust, along with a gold sword. So we are going to need a lot of prosperity ingots. In fact, we are going to need even more than 3. So one more time back to the cave to get a little bit more prosperity shards. Alright, we are back with quite a few prosperity shards here, hopefully enough to get us finished up. But I do actually want to take a look at the augments for this redstone furnace, because we do have to run it through 3 times. First cobblestone to normal soulstone, and then to smooth stone, and then into the dust. So if we could make that a little bit faster, that would be great. This is from the thermal expansion mod, so it looks like we already have all of these. Are these the augments right here? It looks like maybe down below we can scroll through and see what else we have. Here we go, that looks like it might be what we are after. So we want the linkage amplifier, which increases the speed but reduces the RF efficiency. That's okay, we are only bringing in 20 flux per tick, so that is just fine. To make that, we need some electrum plates. Oh boy, this could get expensive. So we need electrum ingots, which is made with fire charge, gold, and silver. Are there any other ways to make this? Well, of course, essence. And electrum dust, which is made with just gold and silver dust. We might actually be able to pull this off. Let's grab out our ore hammer. If we have silver dust, then we definitely can. It looks like we do. So silver dust, we will make a couple of those, maybe 4, 8 in total, 4 times through, in case we want to make some seeds. And gold dust, that is sulfur. Let's make some gold here. We will get 6 from that, and then a couple more ingots to give us 8. So now if we craft both of those dusts together, 8 silver, 8 gold, that will give us 8 or 16 electrum, which we can then put through our redstone furnace over here and get those electrum ingots. Now, I do think we have to compress those then, which is going to take us in another direction. I'm assuming the lead gear, yeah, that's pretty simple to make, and if we don't have enough lead, there is plenty down in the cave. But the plates here, oh, an ore hammer. Okay, 2 of those to make the plates, which we do have an ore hammer. I hope the iron ore hammer can make it. It sure can. So there we go, 2 plates, just like that. Our ore hammer is about dead. We're gonna need to make another one here pretty soon. But let's go ahead and see how much lead we have. We have 2 lead right here. We are gonna need some more, because I think we need 2 lead ingots per augment. If we take a look, which one was it? Here it is. Yeah, we need 2 lead gears, so we're gonna need a bit more lead. And we are back with 49 lead. I decided to just load up on it. I figured it will come in handy later on. We need to make another ore hammer, so let's go ahead and get the recipe for that. I don't think we have bronze. If we do, I would make it, but I don't think we do. So we are gonna stick with the iron ore hammer. We need a few more iron ingots. That shouldn't be an issue for us as long as we have, well, we only have 3 iron essence, so back to the farm. Alright, so now we can make all of the iron that we need to make a couple more blocks here, or just 1 more block. There we go. That will be enough to make our ore hammer, and we can crush down the lead into lead dust. I don't necessarily want to do all of it right now, mostly because of the durability on our hammer. So we will crush down 8 of that lead dust and get it smelting in that furnace right there. So then we can make our last gear that we will need for the augment. And then all that we are missing after that will be another flux coil, which we made before for our redstone furnace. 1 more lead ingot right there. Excellent. We will combine that with our iron nuggets, 2 of those, and we can go ahead and craft that augment right here. And we should be able to, hopefully, if we have done this correctly, place that inside of that table. I do want to see the difference here. So that is the standard speed. We have a pretty good idea of how fast that is. When we place that in, that is significantly better. Now, if we were to place 4 of those in, it would be even faster, but I think it would be up to 160 redstone flux per tick. I don't know the exact conversion of forge energy to redstone flux. It's possible that it might be 1-to-1. We should be able to just step outside though and look at our wind turbine and see if we are depleting energy, which we are, so we probably don't want to go any faster than that. That should be enough to get us all the way through everything that we need to smelt, but we will definitely want to keep that in mind. So while we wait for the rest of our smooth soulstone to turn into soul dust, and then the subsequent stacks of cobbled soulstone and so on, we will begin working on the Soulium seed bases and the Soulium ingots that we are going to need for the other half of our project today. So if we take a look at a random seed base involving souls, let's say pig essence, let's say we want pork chop to be our primary source of food, and that is going to require 3 pig essence to make 6 pork chop. If we want that, then in order to make the pig essence, of course, we need to grow it out of the ground with seeds, but to make those seeds, we need prudentium essence, which isn't really a problem. We have lots of inferium essence, which we can then turn into prudentium, but you will see on these corners, we have these 4 soul jars, and in the middle, Soulium seed base. Now, this is pretty self-explanatory. It is our prosperity seed base combined with 2 Soulium dust. Again, that dust which we got from the Soulium ore, and we can also grow that out of the ground, which we will end up doing. It is a tier 4 seed, which is exactly why we spent all of that time getting plenty of inferium essence, because I do want to have a sustainable source of that Soulium. However, for the soul jars that we are going to need, that is a bit of a different process. That is why we are making the soul extraction. You will see right here, we have a soul jar in the soul extraction chamber, I guess, if that's what we want to call it. And for whatever soul we are trying to extract, say pig in this instance, we are going to take our raw pork chop, put it into that soul jar, and you will see that we get half of a essence, I suppose, or a soul each time, and we need 8 in total. 0.5 units from 1 pork chop and 8 in total. But if you recall, we need 4 of those in order to make the seed. So all in all, we need 16 pork chop per soul jar, multiply that times 4 soul jars, and that will give us 64 pork chop that we are going to need in order to make enough souls for our pig seeds. Once we have those, we just have the 1 pig seeds, and then we have to go back and make more seeds since they did kind of remove that whole feature of seeds having a secondary drop chance. However, we can quickly craft the pork chop that we need for the souls once we have that growing out of the ground. But in essence, no pun intended, that is how that looks. So that is why we are focused so much on the Soulium and the soul dust. Again, with that soul dust, we can combine that with some glass, which we do not have any of. Do we even have sand? Well, we have 8. That's enough to get us going. We'll smelt this real quick, and we will surround that glass with soul dust. This does not give us our jar. This instead gives us 1 piece of soul glass. When we have 3 of these combined with a Soulium ingot, which again is 2 Soulium dust and a prosperity ingot, that is what gives us our soul jar. We need 4 of these for a single soul. That's going to give us a reward though. Let's see if that is anything that pays off and helps us out. So that should be back here in the first tab, maybe. Well, I don't see an exclamation mark anywhere. Was that just an advancement? No. I guess we'll just kind of go through. We have a lot of pending rewards anyway, so we will go through these and collect all of them real quick. On the bounty board, we have killed 10 creepers, so that is going to give us an iron wand. We will research that later on. We got some leather, and that will give us some more leather in return. Down here for mechanism, that would be our last episode. We are going to get a raw osmium and a couple more raw osmium. In the thermal series, of course, we just made our redstone furnace. That is going to give us a reward for making that augment, and that will give us an expanded RF coil. Is that another augment? It increases the capacity and the transfer. Can we place that into here? We sure can. And look at that, that's going to boost that capacity quite a bit, which means when that wind charge, or the, I have 1.21 on my mind, when the wind turbine charges up all the way, it will fill this up and then store that energy in the wind turbine itself. So we have a lot more energy yield right there, which is great. We also have this enchanted scroll of Coppersite 2. Right click to cast this spell, uses left 1, so we don't want to use that right now. What else do we have? From the thermal series, it looks like we have that expanded RF coil. That's going to give us a flux duct. In Botania, we have a mystical lime flower, just some XP for that. And lastly, in Adastra, we will just get a guidebook and an iron ingot. We will get to Adastra eventually. I'm looking forward to getting out of the overworld and checking out space. For now, though, that, of course, is a ways down the road. For now, we are just focused on harvesting some souls. So now that you get the idea of that, I'm going to make a handful of soul jars. We can actually go ahead and craft our soul extractor, which is right here. We just need some of those Soulium daggers, which require 2 Soulium ingots each, so 2, 4, plus 1 more Soulium ingot down here. We will make 5 of those. That will call for 3 more prosperity ingots as well. There we go. We need a couple gold swords. I don't know how much gold we have, but it looks like we are able to make 1 and 2. Perfect. That's going to give us a quest as well for crafting a gold sword. And finally, we can craft those 2 daggers right there. We can craft our extractor pending the machine frame, which is nice and simple to make. And my educated guess is that this is also going to require some energy. We are going to have to place that down and get some energy going into that as well. We are out of wires, but I'm wondering if we can reconfigure our current setup so that it is better suited for that as well, because we do kind of have a mess of wires right back here. So why don't we go ahead and move that one right up there, and that's a bit more efficient. So with that being powered up, we are now ready to craft all of our souls. Of course, we get our soul jar placed into there, and say we wanted to make cows, we just put the leather into there. Now, one final thing to note when we go to do this, different essences, I guess, or different souls that are made from different items in that mob require different amounts of resources. So right here, the raw beef fills it up by half a unit. Down here, the leather fills it up by a quarter of the unit. So if we wanted to make this with leather, we would need 2 stacks of leather in total in order to have enough to fill up 4 soul jars, versus beef, which I don't even know if we have any raw beef. It doesn't look like we do. That will require just 1 stack. But that is the next step for us, getting enough resources for the cows, pigs, chicken, and sheep. That is what we are starting with. We will then move on to something else a little bit later on. In the meantime, I'm going to make a handful of these soul jars and try to get as much of these animal resources as possible, and I will meet all of you back here when it is time to start making some of those soul seeds. This is going to take a while for me, but I will see all of you back here hopefully pretty soon. And we are back once again. I have made a great discovery while I was away. We can actually bring mobs through the waystone on a lead. So if we find mobs, say out here at the extra large village that we found, I actually did find a couple of chickens here, we can put them on our lead, walk up to the waystone, and teleport wherever we want. When we go through, the mob will be there with us. I also discovered if we shift click a villager with a lead, we get the villager in our inventory, and I'm assuming we can just place him down wherever we would like. I also found another waystone while I was out, and I got a couple sheep as well, and again some chickens, and I've set up a couple enclosures. Still no cows or pigs to be found, but that's okay. In the meantime, I went to our close by village over just across the river or ocean right here, whatever we want to call that, and I got a handful of wool. We need 2.5 stacks for the sheep souls, and we have a little bit over that. So with all that being said, it is also, we have a cat. I found a cat near the waystone. I just threw it on a lead. It is not even tamed yet, so it is quite scared of us. If we have any fish, which we do not, we could have tamed it. We'll have to go get some fish here in a little bit. But it is now time to make our soul extractor, and again, to do that, it is... Or did we already make the soul extractor? Oh yes, of course, we already did. So now all we do is we just put our wool in here, and it should... Oh no, we put the wool right there. We put our jar there. That would be for fuel if we were doing it manually. And we will see that this jar will begin to fill up. I haven't made any other jars yet. We are still processing some of that soul stone through, but we can watch this one fill up. So we will see every time it processes a wool, we get 0.2 of the soul altogether, and we need 8 of it in total. Again, 4 soul jars for the wool, or the sheep. While that begins to fill up, and while we wait on a little bit more smooth stone, although I think we have enough soul dust to make a little bit more glass, so we can make a few more jars if we want to, which I think we will. That way we can be prepared for when it is time to make, or when it is time to fill up a few more of those jars. We do need some more sand though. That is not too difficult for us to make. Just some fire and dirt essence gives us 16 of that, 32 in total. We will get that put into our iron furnace over here. That way we can keep our soul dust moving on the main furnace. So that is now nearing the halfway point. A couple more wool in there and we will be halfway. So again, it is 40 wool per jar, which means 160 in total, which is again 2.5 stacks of wool. We are just going to do the sheep for today. I will continue to get those other animals and the seeds for them between now and the next few episodes. Again, we need a lot of all those different resources, and it is a lot to gather. So just for demonstration purposes, we are going to stick with the sheep seeds. If we look up sheep seeds, we will see tier 2 seed, nothing to it. To make them, we need that Soulium seed base, 4 Prudentium essence, and 4 of those soul jars. We don't have any Prudentium, I don't think, but that is not a problem for us. We can just take our Inferium crystal. 15 uses left on this thing. I'm assuming it will just break once it is finished, and yes, there it goes. But that gives us enough Prudentium essence, and we also need to make that Soulium seed base. Again, that is prosperity seeds combined with the soul dust, or the Soulium dust. There we go. So now we will go outside, place this down, we will place down our Prudentium essence, also going around in a circle, and then we will place down our 4 soul jars. So here we go, seeds down, Prudentium down, and once we get our full 4 soul jars, we will be able to make our first animal essence. We will go plant that over there and call it a day. So our first soul jar is completely full now. We will swap that out and get our next one into place. And there we go, we will didn't mean to do that. I guess white wool works as a fuel. That makes sense, as we can use it in the furnace. And we are gonna have to go tame that cat because it is driving me crazy. But our next soul jar is into place, and we're gonna go get a fish. Looks like we have a few right off the shore here. Alright, let's see if our cat is interested in any of these different types of fish. We didn't have any cod or salmon. Oh, maybe. We're just gonna hold it here. Let the cat slowly approach us. Or maybe we'll just walk up to the cat and corner it. The minnow, it didn't take. We'll see if it takes the carp or the gar. It took the gar, took the carp, and that is all of the fish that we have, and it still isn't quite tamed yet. So we will continue to work on that cat. Uh-oh, what do we have going on here? We are out of power, it appears. So I think we need to turn something off. We need to stop running the furnace, and we should probably just disconnect this as a whole because that is drawing a lot of power. Now we're doing a little bit better. We're still not fully maxed out. Maybe we will let that charge up for a little while longer, and maybe it's almost time for a second windmill. Alright, I've made a second wind turbine, and we can place that down right here. They don't interfere with each other, so that will be just fine. Twice as much power now. We should be able to power everything without any bottlenecks or issues regarding that. Right in here, that is in full, basically. That is full, and the infuser, everything is all full of power. When we put our white wool into there, that stays completely full. It does not deplete, which is good. We can also add augments to the soul extractor. We will do that. Well, let's see how expensive they are right now, and then we will decide if that's something that we want to do right away, or if we want to hold off on that. They're going to be these machine upgrades, not these. These are for the armor that we will make another time. But these augments right here, just some diamonds and prosperity ingots. That is not that bad. We should be able to make all of that. Depending on how much iron we have, we may need some more iron essence. It looks like we do. We'll get a bit more iron made, and we need some prosperity ingots. We don't have any, so we will need 4 of those. Perfect, and we should have everything else that we need. That is the upgrade base. We will then turn that into a Inferium upgrade module. We need 3 more Inferium ingots, and we can make the Inferium machine upgrade. When we go to place that in there, of course, that jar is full, but we will get another one put in. There we go. And what we will see, similar to the redstone furnace, is this will go a bit faster. I don't think it's nearly as fast as this one was when we upgraded it, but it is faster and it is still keeping up. Of course, we also doubled our capacity of forge energy, which means we can store even more in there now. So we are going to make 2 more of these jars. We will head out there and I will meet you out there in just a moment to make our first seeds. And here we go. We now have all 4 of our soul jars filled with sheep souls. I guess I didn't grab the last one here. There we go. And we can get all of these placed down into the infusion altar. And again, that will give us our sheep seeds. How awesome is this? That means anytime we want wool, all we have to do is step over to our farm, spend some time harvesting some sheep essence, and it is as simple as taking some of that essence, and if we find the recipe right here, crafting it in a 3x3 without that center essence. That will give us 6 white wool. We can also use this to craft mutton. Right here, it is raw mutton. We will have to cook it, but 3 essence will give us the raw mutton. Let's get this planted in the ground right here, maybe on some tier 2 farmland. We will just take out some of that inferium essence, and there we go. We can stand here with our watering can and our scythe, and just kind of hold that down. Of course, it will harvest all around us as well. But as this grows, we will see. Actually, I want to pause here for a second with harvesting. We will still water it, but the texture is kind of fun for the plant at the top. It has the sheep face here on the side, on all 4 sides. We can go to harvest that, and that will give us our first sheep essence. I think we also completed a quest for this if we step into mystical agriculture. Right up here, no, is it tier 1? Well, creating mob seeds, we get, we get some soul jars for that, so that helps us out a little bit. Here in tier 2, we get some sheep seeds, we will get a prudentium ingot, and I think that is everything there. We also have a bit more here in food and farming. An egg, we will get some scrambled eggs, and here in the beginning, right down here, easy villagers. Sure enough, there it is. We can click a villager with a lead. Do we have to have a lead? That gives us an oak drawer. You can pick up a villager by sneak right-clicking them. I guess it doesn't have to be with a lead, so that is really convenient. So if we really wanted to, we could go to our village right across the water, bring all of those villagers onto our island, and set up a new population of villagers right over here. But that is where we are going to end things for today. Again, I'm going to continue to work at all of these souls, getting some chickens, cows, and pigs. That way we can get some leather, food, and feathers going. In the meantime, if you enjoyed today's episode, definitely hit that thumbs up button and make sure you are subscribed so you don't miss out on daily content as soon as I publish it. Check the description for some more important information, links, how to contact me, all of that good stuff. And with all of that being said, comment, like, subscribe, remember to stay optimistic, and I will see all of you tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Bye!